I'm so glad to welcome you to the Clark Howard Show, where it's about you learning ways to keep more of what you make. Speaking of which, half hour from now, 2 things involving pay TV. A lot of fuss going on with people having their bills padded with false charges or hidden charges. I need to tell you what you need to be looking out for. Plus, I've got a new updated series of deals for you on pay TV. Can save you a bundle coming up in just 30 minutes. And in 20 minutes, in today's Clarkrageous moment, spamsters at it like crazy. Spammers, spamsters, whatever you call them, they drive me crazy. Let me tell you what kind of dirty stuff's going on and how you need to protect yourself in today's Clarkrageous moment. Right now, though, we're going to talk about something. I should have said our web address, clark.com. And we got a question for me, clark.com/ask. This is something that bugs me, that hurts the economy. More and more industries are trying to get protection from competition from government. It is one of those things that people from the left and the right can agree on is absolutely terrible when people try to get government to protect their business from competition. We're in a position now where a ridiculous percent of Americans, nearly 1 in 3, have to have some kind of license to do whatever it is they do for a living. And where in one state, no license is required for that job, in another state it might be. Or you might need a license in one, and to work next door, the license you have isn't good there. You have to get another one. It's all about protecting people's jobs. There are certain professions where a state professional licensing board makes great sense. Think of things like the medical profession, dental profession, something along those lines. But almost always, the licensing is just a way of eliminating competition. And I've been down to state legislatures during legislative sessions a number of times, and it is a sight to see that a typical American, fortunately, has never had to witness. But what happens is for every member of a state legislature, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of lobbyists running around for a special interest, trying to get something that will prevent a competitor from doing something or to get some special favor for them. And the reality is the reason there's such different standards on this licensing all over the country is all based on how much lobbyists have been able to influence one legislature or another. It is a total waste of people's time and money, but most especially, it harms our country. It reduces economic activity. It prevents competition and harms you and your wallet as a consumer. There's really no excuse for it. The funny thing, though, how politics can create odd bedfellows, it's something that the Koch brothers and President Obama agree on. It may be the only thing that the Koch brothers and President Obama agree on. But it is something that is as obvious as could be that there is a direct hit to the ability for an economy to grow when you have senseless, useless regulations. And I think that we need a whole new approach. And that is, we need for the governors of our 50 states to say that every licensing board has to be reauthorized every 3 years, that needs to be a push to get legislation through to stop this foolishness, because then it would force the lobbyists to fight that battle over and over again against the interests of the people of a state and collectively the interests of the people of the United States. But enough. Why in the world? I saw a New York Times item that in Arizona, I didn't even know this was a thing, that people get massages for their dogs, which by itself is Clark-rageous. But if you are a massage therapist for pets, you have to have a state license to do that. Seriously? Seriously. Tom, your credit's been fouled up because of an address snafu. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
What happened?
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Well, I had an X-ray a year ago, and I don't know if you've ever had one, but sometimes the radiologist is separate from the provider who actually takes the X-ray. And so sometimes you'll get two different bills, one for the actual X-ray, one for reading the X-ray.
Sure. Well, that's actually how it happens most of the time.
Most of the time, but sometimes they're in the same office.
Okay.
Anyway, I got a bill from one of the X-ray providers and paid it immediately, like I always do. And then, just went on, and, I have some health issues, so I do a lot of these types of invoices and dealing with service providers. And then I was doing my quarterly credit report check a couple weeks ago, pulled it up, and by the way, thanks to you, it's always been excellent, spotless credit report, the high rating.
I'm glad.
And I see this, there's a collection, and after a couple of days of investigating, find out that the radiologist had sent an invoice to an address I haven't had in 15 years. And after about a month or so, they sent it to a collections company. And now, I just want to get it removed. I don't mind paying what's owed, but is there anything I can do?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, because it's clearly a clerical error on the part of the radiology practice, because when you would have gone to the facility to have your X-ray, you would have filled out forms with the address. They would have had your insurance information. Right. And so that is a clerical error on the part of the radiologist. So
yeah, that's what I figured, but they're trying to, I'm not even in their system anymore. They've sold the debt to the collection agency.
Not your problem. They're making this your problem. Have you talked to just whoever's on the phone, or have you talked to the general manager of the practice?
At the collections or the...
No, you want to talk to the radiology practice, because they are the ones that have to reclaim the item from the collection agency. The collection agency is worthless to you.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of reclaiming. Okay.
So you contact the radiology practice, ask who's the general manager of the practice. You need his or her help. And if the gatekeeper will not let you talk to the individual, you write a letter to that person, friendly in the letter, tell them that they had a clerical error, send it to this stray address. You value your credit as you imagine he or she does, and you need for them to recall the item from the collection agency, and that you are happy to pay the bill.
Oh, okay.
Period.
I didn't know that.
And if the first effort on your part does not work, you'll have to become more aggressive. And the thing I recommend in a case like this, because protecting your credit standing is very key for you, and if they don't cooperate in most areas of the country, the state medical association affiliate or the local affiliate offers a fee dispute program, and you could file under that. And at that point, they'd say, oh, well, this guy was serious. Tom's not just going to let us mistreat him. And they would quickly deal with the problem.
Okay.
But I think you should be able, by getting through the office bureaucracy to the manager of the practice, general manager is usually a non-doctor. You want to talk to him or her, and hopefully you'll be able to get this cleared up in a single phone call. If that doesn't work, be tough. It's your reputation. Robert's with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hello, Robert.
Hello.
Robert, they make it so easy to sign up with Satellite But when you decide you don't want to be with them anymore, the divorce is not as easy as the marriage to a satellite company, is it?
That's correct.
What are they doing to you?
Well, I called to cancel my subscription with the TV satellite company, and I've been with them 14 plus years. And they told me that I would have to mail them my receiver back to them. And when they did that, I just forgot about it, and I got to thinking about your show. And is this normal for them to ask the customer to send back the receiver?
If you did not buy the receiver at that time, yes. There are receivers with the satellite companies that are those that people have bought, and there are those that people have leased. Now, if you have an old receiver, all you're doing for them is sending them back something that will be e-waste for them. They'll have to figure out how to recycle it. But if it's one that is a fairly modern receiver, it's very valuable to them. They will be able to take it and lease it to another customer. So the receiver, that is a normal thing that you would have to send it back. But they usually will send you a box to send it back in. Did they not send you a box with a UPS or FedEx mailer?
No, they offered to, but I opted out. I just told them I'd just stay with them a while, but I just got another $5 rate increase per month, so I thought it'd be a good time to go through it again.
Right. So when you fire them, they will, if your receivers actually, and you ask them, if your receivers, are they the ones you got originally 14 years ago?
Yes, sir.
And they want that back. So you're not even watching high def, are you?
No.
Wow. All right. So that receiver you have isn't even worth a nickel to them.
Right. Not only that, but I don't have a DVD or DVR or whatever they call them. I had the old
DVR, yeah.
Yeah, I had the old cassette type.
All right. So a VCR, yeah. All right. So they will send you a box for it, and you just send it back to them. When you go drop it off at FedEx or UPS, whichever they use, make sure you get a receipt where they scan in the barcode of the address label,
right?
So that later, if they say you didn't send it back, you have actually done so.
Correct.
And have they said anything about the satellite dish on your roof?
No.
Okay. So at one time, really it was a punitive thing. There was no value to that dish. The satellite companies were actually making you send them back the dish itself, which was just so silly, because what they were missing is that when you sell your home or whatever, it's already there for a next customer, and they should leave it there. But I doubt they'll ask for that back.
Right, right.
So what are you going to do for television moving forward, Robert?
I'm just going to stay with my local channels, and if I inclined, I'll go back to a different company, or if they'll give me a better deal.
Yeah, when you tell them you're firing them, at that point they may actually give you a lower price for 6 months or a year.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. Well, good luck firing them.
Right. Thank you, Howard.
Okay. Bye, Robert. Here on the Clark Howard Show, the Clark-rageous moment is devoted to telling you about Clark-rageous things that can happen to you and what steps you can take to reduce the damage to you or even eliminate it from happening in the first place. Today involves something that drives people crazy, and that's getting spammed.
Scams, rip-offs, outrages. It's a Clark-rageous moment.
A hacker that I talked about before has now been sentenced to a measly 2.5 years in jail for sending out nearly 30 million Facebook message spams. He's known as the Spam King. When I talked about Sanford Wallace before, he was only an alleged perpetrator. Now he stands convicted. And imagine, Computer World calculated that he sent 27 million plus spam messages through Facebook. And how did he do it? He hacked 500,000 Facebook users' accounts. And he took people's email addresses, their passwords. He sent all kinds of fake messages through people's accounts. And this kind of thing is an ongoing issue with the successful hacks. Here's what I want you to think about. Do not use the same password for financial sites that you use for social media. Remember, the criminals are being so successful hacking into email addresses and social media, and often people will use the same exact password across all their accounts. It's impossible for any of us to remember a million different passwords. So you can use something like Dashlane, which I've talked about before, which allows you to have a different password everywhere else and does it automated for you. But if you don't want to use something like Dashlane, which has a free version and a paid version, then at least take the one step of using, again, a different password at your bank, brokerage account, mutual fund account, any financial site. Make sure it's different than what you're using, especially on Facebook or other social media, because the hackers are lurking.
A great business needs a stunning website. And with Wix.com, you can do it all by yourself. Wix.com makes it easy to look amazing online, no matter what type of business you're in. Show off your images in a beautiful gallery. Grow your contact list and get all your social media in one place, just the way you want. Your customers are going to love it. So, what are you waiting for? Show the world what you can do. Go to Wix.com and create your stunning website today. It's easy and free.
I'm so glad you've joined us on the Clark Howard Show, where it's about you learning ways to save more and spend less. And don't let anybody ever rip you off. On the web, we're at Clark.com. When you got a question, Clark.com/ask. A new report from the U.S. Senate has a special warning for you about fake charges and improper charges and hidden charges on your pay TV bill. What you need to know is it actually is worth it to take the opportunity to look at your bill and know that all the pay TV companies trying to get you to go paperless, it's so that it makes it so much easier for them to hide fake charges on your bill. And the worst part, according to what I've read, is that even when you discover fake charges, the pay TV companies will fight you over giving you back the money they took they shouldn't have taken. So it's up to you. Look through that pay TV bill. And when there's something you don't understand, or why am I being charged $6 for blah, 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 or $11 for this other thing, you call them up and say, what's this for? And usually you'll find out it's something you're not even supposed to be paying. It's up to you because it's your money. And speaking of your money, I want you to know that I've been using Sling.com for a good amount of time now. It is an alternative for pay TV. And I have been really, really happy with Sling. It gives you the ability on the go or on your TV, if you have like a Roku or whatever, you can watch Sling as replacement for traditional pay TV. Sling's program packages generally fall into 3 price points. They keep testing different things. $20 a month, $25 a month, or $40 a month. I'm really surprised that they've gone all the way to $40 a month, but the $40 a month is a program package that is much like what you're used to with a ton of channel choices from traditional pay TV. The $20 a month package is a much more streamlined one, is geared specifically towards people who are into sports because it's got ESPN as part of it. The $25 package has traditional networks and then all the cable channels and all that. And then the $40 a month is a huge array of video content, with the average person paying $80 or so a month for pay TV. Cutting that by half or more is a great alternative, and it's all in. There's no hidden fees. There's no junk fees. There's no junk charges you'd have to worry about on your bill if you go to Sling.com. This is a concept that a lot of people are like, how does this work? What does it do? So you're getting what's known as IPTV, Internet Protocol Television, instead of traditional cable or satellite. So what happens is over your internet connection, the TV feeds in, and it can feed to your TV. You can watch on your phone, you can watch on your laptop, you can watch on a tablet, and you can watch anywhere. Where your traditional pay TV is for a specific address, with Sling, it's for specifically you and wherever you are at that moment. Jackie joins us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, Jackie.
Hi.
How are
Thank
you?
you for taking my call. I'm good.
Jackie, your employer has decided to be a little less giving.
Well, not yet, but it's looking like that.
What's happening?
Well, we are going down, as far as the number of employees, and the 401k is just going to be too expensive, and I'm going to be the only one that will be paying into it.
Wow.
So for 6 years, we've had this benefit, and now through time, there'll just be two of us, and I'll be the only one paying in. So I want to know what I should do in place of that.
Do you own the company, Jackie?
I do not.
Okay. So you are a very loyal employee, aren't you?
Pretty much. Yeah.
So you have an alternative where you can do either a regular IRA or a Roth IRA. How much do you contribute per year right now to the 401k?
I'm only contributing about $12,000 a year.
$12,000 is a lot. Don't call it only. That's great. So the problem is the way the law works, where at your employer you're allowed to contribute up to, I think it's $17,500 now, and then there's an add-on of a lot of dollars when you pass that 50th birthday. With the IRA or its cousin, the Roth IRA, it's $5,500, capped out at $6,500 once you've had your 50th birthday or above. So your amount you can save is going to be cut in half versus what you're saving right now. So that's not a good thing, is it?
No, it isn't. I didn't think of it as that. I was only thinking about the employer contribution and how to recoup that.
Yeah,
but
so
much bigger picture.
Yes, exactly. So there is an option if your employer wants to still offer a retirement plan but not have any cost of doing so of any significance, other than if they do want to continue a match but eliminate all the overhead of having a plan. Mm-hmm. They can offer something known as a SEP as a replacement for a 401k.
Okay.
A SEP is a simplified employee pension.
And is the SEP then before tax dollars like the 401k?
Exactly.
Okay.
So, and also has a component where the employer can provide a match.
Okay.
So it would work in a place that's a very small business with just a couple of you that want to be in the plan. The SEP works because it has a $0 cost for the employer.
Okay.
Where the 401k, running it for an ultra small plan, can be very costly.
Yes. Yeah.
So you eliminate all that cost, and the employer is still able to offer the benefit.
Oh, okay. So what do I do with the money that's currently in the 401k? Do I just leave it there?
You can leave it there. If it's with an insurance company provided plan, I would roll it into your own IRA.
Okay.
But if you want to know more about the SEP as something to propose to your employer, you can go to any of the ultra low-cost companies, and they'll provide you right on their websites, or you can talk to somebody, and they'll send you a SEP kit and explain to you how it works.
Okay.
I'd love for you to look at doing a SEP with somebody like Charles Schwab or Vanguard or Fidelity Investments. Would all be great choices to look at. Another one that would be a good choice would be T. Rowe Price.
Okay.
But any of those four would be excellent for you to look at as a replacement for the plan at work, and would give you the closest you could find to the equivalent of what you have right now with the 401k.
Okay. That's good to know. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, best to you. And Jackie, I'm very impressed with how much money you're saving.
Thank you.
Okay. Take care. Follow me at facebook.com/Clark Howard. Our web address, clark.com. When you got a question for me, go clark.com/ask. Angeline is calling on the Clark Howard Show. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing, Clark?
Great, thank you. You have a when question for me.
Yes. When's the best time to take a trip to Montreal, Canada? Flying.
Okay, so Montreal doesn't really have a good time to fly to because the airfares to Montreal are generally so incredibly expensive.
Yes.
And what people have been doing is they're flying to airports at the northernmost border point they can find to Quebec when they're going to Montreal, and to Toronto they're flying into Buffalo or Niagara Falls Airport or even Rochester Airport and crossing over. Do you know at the northern U.S. airports, roughly a third of all travelers going from those airports are now Canadians that are crossing the U.S. border because they save so much money flying within North America and to the Caribbean and Central America and all across the United States, leaving from a U.S. airport. Trying to think the airport, is it Plattsburgh, New York that people have been flying into going to Montreal?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe Boston Airport.
Boston's a pretty good hike from Montreal. That would be pretty far. I feel like it's Plattsburgh, but I may be wrong on the airport.
Well, I don't know of anyone, if there's an airport or in Plattsburgh. I don't know. Okay.
Thank you. Joel, one of my producers, just pulled this up. He went to the website for Plattsburgh International Airport, and it says as their tagline, Montreal's U.S. airport.
Oh.
So in answer to your question also, going on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturday after 2 p.m., as a general rule, get you the lowest fares to and from traveling in the United States.
Oh, that's great. Oh, good.
So get a map out or go online and look at a map and see what American cities are close enough to Montreal, because the airfare savings we're talking about are usually cutting the fare by more than half.
Oh, that's amazing.
Flying into a northern U.S. airport instead of a Canadian airport. You know, there's an example in the western part of Canada for Vancouver. People are flying into Bellingham, Washington, and flying into Bellingham from various places around the United States at less than half the cost of flying into Vancouver. And the reasons for this are just crazy, weird, almost funny. The U.S. government and the Canadian government reached a deal years ago where they set up a taxing regime for flights that fly between the U.S. and Canada that charge massive, more than double taxation for flights between the two countries. And that's why, what do people do? They come up with a way to come up with lower fares. And I should mention also, Krista, who went to school in Vermont, or right at the Vermont border, said, why didn't I mention Burlington, Vermont as another airport to fly into for Montreal?
Right,
So
that's true.
check that one as well.
What we're thinking is like whatever would be closest to driving to Montreal, like we could fly into, let's say, Plattsburgh or Vermont or whatever's closest, and we can drive to Montreal.
Exactly. That's what people do every day. There are also shuttles that operate for people who don't want a car when they get to Montreal that take you from the northern U.S. airports that people fly in and out of for Montreal. Follow me at facebook.com/Clark Howard. Our web address, clark.com. When you got a question for me, go clark.com/ask. Billy is with us on the Clark Howard Show. Billy?
Yes.
Hi. You have a most unusual complaint about a rental car. I'll tell you, I have never had a complaint along these lines ever, and I rent perhaps 30, 35 cars a year.
I'm not sure exactly what it was, but there was something in the carpeting in the trunk that I wasn't able to see or smell when I got the car. And, since I'm a recent college graduate going through the employment process right now, what I do in my spare time is I referee soccer games. So all my referee jerseys were in the trunk, and they got this oil on them, and they're at the cleaners right now. So when I contacted customer service, they told me I was out of luck because I declined the personal effects protection.
Personal effects coverage. All right, now PEC. PEC is not specifically designed for a car rental being filthy and you ending up with items of yours damaged, or in this case, dirty. And how much is your dry cleaning or cleaning bill going to be?
If I had to guess, it's probably going to be around $65, $70.
All right. Well, whoever at Customer No Service you were talking to, that they didn't want to do something like give you a voucher for a future rental or something like that, that was just plain dumb. Because, I know they become jaded over time because of the stories they hear from people, but that's silly. And it's not your fault that a car you rented had some kind of gunk in the trunk. That's not your fault, but they created a problem for you. So call back, be polite. If you got blown off again, ask for a supervisor. That doesn't work. Go on the internet. This is a well-known corporation. Search around on their press releases and see who, like the vice president of marketing, vice president of sales is. Stay away from CEO. They have vice president customer service, whatever it is, and call that individual directly, toll call to corporate. And you aren't likely to get to talk to that person, but you'll talk to somebody in their office. If you ever call a big corporation and you ask for the CEO, even by name, you're going to be shunted off to a call center.
Okay.
But if you call for somebody who's 2 or 3 levels down, they don't have the level of gatekeeping that happens with a public corporation CEO. And then you're likely to get to somebody who will recognize, nobody goes to the trouble you are finding out who they are, calling and spelling out a problem. But try Customer No Service one more time. If that doesn't work, try this route where you go to their website, you go to their press room or newsroom or whatever they call it, read the press releases. They always have quotes from so-and-so is so proud to announce that they have this new customer service initiative that they carry you to your car in a chariot or whatever. Whatever the press release is, and you'll find the person's name and all that. And very easily you should be able to find the corporate office number. You call, you ask for that individual, bam. I can tell you that you have like a 95% chance that you'll get something like this accommodated in some way that may not be with Customer No Service.
Okay.
How do you feel about being your own advocate?
It's different getting kind of the runaround. They told me to call the actual store and forget all that. You try these steps and let's see what you can do. You just hit them with a yellow card. If they don't behave, you hit them with a red card, right? Yep, exactly.
Okay. Well, good luck, Billy.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Take care.
When you're going to buy a car, pricing information is great and necessary, but there's more to doing it than just the price. There's the actual buying experience. If you want to enjoy a better one, you should go to a TrueCar certified dealer. They're there to help you find the car that you want, and they're also what make TrueCar unique. With TrueCar, you can connect with a local certified dealer that you choose, so you can lock in a guaranteed savings off the MSRP and enjoy a totally better buying experience. And by better, they also mean faster. Over 2 million cars have already been sold to TrueCar users who have visited their TrueCar certified dealer. And there are over 11,000 TrueCar certified dealers nationwide, so it's probably pretty easy to find one near you. And check this, for a new car, average TrueCar users save $3,279 off MSRP. All right, so you're probably wondering, how do I do this? It's easy. Just go to TrueCar.com or, right there on your phone, download the TrueCar app. You can find the car you want, see the TrueCar pricing curve, which shows you what other people in your area paid for the same car, and that way you can know you're getting a good price and feel confident. Then you'll get a guaranteed savings certificate from the TrueCar certified dealer. Go to the dealer, and your guaranteed savings off MSRP will be honored, and you enjoy a quick, easy experience. How's that for car buying? So when you're ready to buy a new car, or even a used one, visit TrueCar.com or download the TrueCar app and enjoy the better car buying experience. Some features are not available in all states.
Welcome to the Clark Howard Show, where it's about you learning ways to keep more of what you make. You can follow me at Facebook.com/Clark Howard, on the web, Clark.com. Coming up a half hour from now, before you go to the doctor for your next visit, I've got something you have got to know that impacts your wallet. It's coming your way in just 30 minutes. Speaking of your wallet, second biggest expense most of us have in our lives is for the cars we drive. And there are certain surveys that are very respected. The most of all is Consumer Reports, that does its survey of vehicle quality and also the reliability of vehicles, how often they have to be repaired. And then J.D. Power does its surveys that are reliability surveys based on how a new car initially performs, and then what I think is more important, how do vehicles perform 3 years in. But I want to concentrate right now on something that is so significant about their reliability ratings on the 2016 models. I know we're already starting to have some 2017s appear, but they've got the data on the 2016s, and something that has never happened in the roughly 30 years that J.D. Power has rated the reliability of various makes of automobiles. Never has there been a non-luxury car that has gotten the best rating for reliability till now. This is an amazing thing I'm about to share with you. Because when you're looking at cars, a lot of people, buying cars is an emotional thing, and you're looking at a car because of the style, or there's something about it that, quote unquote, speaks to you. And the car I'm about to tell you may not be one you've ever considered. Kia. That's right, Kia. The Korean nameplate. A lot of their cars are made in the southeast United States, but Kia, the most reliable of any brand, according to J.D. Power, beating out Porsche, that is number 2, trailing Kia. Number 3, Hyundai. Hyundai and Kia are similar corporate parentage. There's cross ownership. And they rank first and third. Who else they beat? Toyota in 4th place. Think about this. 4 brands, 3 are regular price vehicles, 1 luxury brand at the top of the heap in reliability. Following those 4, BMW, and then 2 General Motors brands, Chevrolet and Buick. So you don't have to spend a fortune to find a vehicle that will be reliable. And as someone who rents cars about 30 times a year, and I rent all different sizes, makes, models, whatever they throw me into, the quality that I'm experiencing and the creature comforts, and even an economy car, phenomenal. I mean, I don't know that we have ever had better overall quality of vehicles in the United States. Having said that, let me tell you who's at the bottom. Smart Cars, Fiat, Volvo, Land Rover, and Mini are the 5 brands that are the least reliable, according to J.D. Power. Spend a lot of money on these vehicles. You want to make sure that they're going to behave for you because of all those dollars that are flying out of your wallet each and every month. Doug is with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, Doug.
Hi. I'm so glad I got to talk to you.
Well, I'm glad you're here then.
Yeah, my wife listens to you faithfully. And we got a little dilemma. I'm 58 years old, 58 and a half, and I'm going to take a medical retirement due to health reasons. With the trades that I'm in, it's a demanding trade, and I just can't do it anymore.
What kind of thing do you do for a living that's basically made it to where it's just too uncomfortable to do?
Commercial HVAC, heating and cooling.
Yeah, that is very tough on the body, isn't it?
Yes, sir, and I've had both knees replaced, and I got to go in for a rotacuff surgery, so I'm going to take a retirement.
Okay.
I have $275,000 in my 401.
Congratulations to you.
And my wife has money in hers. We've saved. But when I hit 59 and a half, which will be a year from next month, I would like to pay my mortgage off out of my 401, which will be about $110,000. Do you think that's, and eliminate all my house payments? I'd be debt-free. You think that's a good idea?
I'm sorry to tell you I don't recommend that.
You don't? Okay,
I don't. Because, and your wife, you said she listens religiously. She probably said, Clark will tell you not to do that.
Well, I just want to know. I just wanted some advice.
All right. The reason is this. Hopefully your mortgage interest rate's really low now. What is your interest rate?
3.9.
Yeah, I mean, 3.9 by historical numbers, that's like nothing. And remember what we used to earn on CDs before the federal government started playing games with interest rates?
Mm-hmm.
You know, CDs alone used to earn 5, 6, 7% or more, depending on how long a CD you bought. We're in really weird times right now that are not forever. And when the Federal Reserve stops manipulating interest rates, we're going to have real rates on savings again. Mortgage rates that you got a 3.9. You remember what mortgage rates used to be. It used to be a great deal if you got 7.5%, 8%.
That's 13% at one time for me.
Right. I had a 12.5 at one time. I mean, right in the same territory. So your 3.9 is so low and offers you so much flexibility. And instead, if you take that money out of your 401k next year, you then have to pay tax. You don't have to pay penalty, but you have to pay tax on that 110 grand taking it out. So it would be better if you kept paying the mortgage as agreed, because it's such a good deal on that mortgage, even though it means you still have debt, and you give that 401k time to continue to grow and only pull out what you need to live on. And if you took 110 out, that could cause you and push you into a higher tax bracket, cost you more money, all that. I don't want you to do that to yourself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought, well, I could pay that off and then take that $1,000 mortgage that I pay and put that in her Roth and, you know, just continue to save that.
But you already have, but remember, you take out 110, you may have taxes you're going to owe $30,000 or so.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
So that's why I'd rather you got such a good deal on that mortgage. Don't pay it off early. Let that work for you. Diane is with us. Diane, how are you?
I'm great, Clark. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure. You have an opposite side question on Roths and 401ks.
I do. I've recently been blessed with a pretty good amount of money, and I have paid everything off, just like you suggest, all credit cards. I am debt-free, and now I'm sitting with about $300,000 in my bank. And I've never had the opportunity to start investing, so I'm a newbie. But I know that Roth IRAs you always recommend, and 401ks. And I don't know much about the 401ks. And
do you have one where you work?
Yes, we do. And I haven't looked that much into it, except to know that we have one. I don't know if there are different 401ks or if they're all the same.
No, well, the difference in 401ks from one place to another is that with 401ks, there's an administrator, and the administrator, it'd be a company like Fidelity Investments or Vanguard or something like that. The administrator, depending on who they are, charges you fees for handling your 401k for your employer that can be from teensy tiny to gigantic. Generally, any insurance company or full commission stock brokerage that handles a 401k charges massive fees to have that 401k. The discount stockbrokers that are so heavily into it, and people like T. Rowe Price and Vanguard charge very low fees for having a 401k. If your employer, find out who is the administrator of it. If it's one of the low-fee kind of companies, I'd want you to go from not putting anything in your 401k to the absolute max they'll let you do.
Okay.
Even if it means some of your living costs have to be handled out of this $300,000, you're getting a nice tax break putting money into the 401k. You're probably picking up an employer match on the money you put into the 401k.
Okay, awesome. And definitely do the Roth IRA every year.
Yes. And one other thing about the 401k, more than half of employers now offer an option called a Roth 401k.
Okay.
If you're given the choice between a 401k and a Roth 401k, definitely do the Roth 401k.
Okay.
Because you don't get a tax break for the money going in, but all the money flows to you tax-free in retirement.
Awesome. Okay. I've also gotten other advice from other people, and I just want to go ahead and clear the air. Definitely not fixed annuity.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No way. No. Annuities. Do you know who gets rich from an annuity?
I guess not me.
The salesperson in the insurance company.
Okay.
And if somebody's giving you that kind of pitch, I want you to go sit down and talk with what's known as a fee-only financial advisor. You got a lot of money sitting there. I think it would be well worth you having at least one session with a fee-only financial advisor. That's somebody who gets no commissions for anything they'd advise you to do, and you just pay him or her for his or her time or expertise. And there are two groups that do that in the United States. One is called the NAPFA, National Association of Personal Financial Advisors, and the website's napfa.org. And then there's another one called GarrettPlanningNetwork.com. NAPFA is more geared towards you paying somebody to advise you steadily over time, and Garrett Planning Network's more like going for a checkup at a doctor.
I am so scared. As much as I am blessed with this money, I'm scared now that it's sitting there.
Well, that's why you go talk with somebody who doesn't have any vested interest that could come back to burn you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Kevin is with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Clark. Thanks for being there. Appreciate your services.
Certainly.
I am trying to figure out if I should fire my investment advisor. My wife and I both have Roth accounts. We haven't really funded them like we should in the past few years. But he has us in, a few different funds, including a bond fund, a couple of mutual funds with, I think, high expenses. And I'm looking at, like you talk about, getting into maybe some ETFs through maybe a Vanguard or a Fidelity. And I'm wondering what the best way to do that. Should I go through him? Is it going to be extra charges, or should I?
Well, if you're using is this a full commission stockbroker? Is what you're using, or?
Yeah, it's a local firm, and the way they have it set up, they charge basically it's only like a $50 a year maintenance fee for the account right now because I really haven't been doing much.
And then are they getting commissions on things that they sell you?
Yeah, that's the way I.
Well, I don't want you at a fee-based firm, a commission-based firm. I want you at one where either you are paying somebody for his or her advice, or you are making your own decisions about how to invest money in your Roth.
Right.
And the way I'd try to go along that path to see what you're best doing, if you I have an investment guide on Clark.com that is easy, intermediate, advanced. You get on there, you read that. If you start nodding off and falling asleep.
Yeah, I've actually looked at it.
And did it help you sleep? Like, were you having a sleepless night and it put you right out cold? Or
it didn't put me to sleep, but
it was Dullsville a bit.
I had to, rough myself through it. So
okay, so the reason I asked that, because there's really two issues, is that a lot of people are bored silly by the whole concepts of how you diversify and what investments you can go in and all that. And if it bores you, then maybe you are someone who's better off either going into just a target retirement fund where you set it and forget it, go in a very low fee fund, and all your money just goes in there and you don't have to figure out how to diversify it, which is based on your age, your expected year that you would need money, or your expected retirement date. That's what a target retirement fund is, and you just set it and forget it.
I think I like the idea of picking some different funds, though. I think.
Well, if you're into that and you can get some excitement about the boring topic of portfolio allocation, diversification, how you build a market basket of investments, if that intrigues you and interests you, you are better off not with a commission-oriented firm, but directing your own investments with a low-cost outfit. So really, a lot of this has to do with you, your interest, whether you're intimidated by any of it, are you willing to put in the time, and are you going to do a good job of reviewing, let's say, every 6 months, once a year, not more often than that, because people go crazy with the trigger finger if they're paying too much attention to money that should be long-term. But I'm concerned about something you said. You've been putting this account that you have on ignore. You haven't put money in the last few years. Are you going to devote the time and energy to it to make good decisions?
Yeah, I believe I've sat down with my wife, and we're pretty much both on the same page. And
well, Kevin, if that's where you are now, then you should cut loose this commission salesperson and handle this self-serve on your own.
Stay tuned for 60 seconds of AP News headlines right after this podcast.
I'm glad you're with us on the Clark Howard Show. My goal, to help you keep more of what you make. Our web address, clark.com. When you got a question, clark.com/ask. When I go to the doctor, there are a lot of times are sales reps that are waiting to see the doctor or the head nurse. And it is a time-proven strategy to get FaceTime with the doctor to change what prescriptions he or she might be writing. There was a report in the Journal of the American Medical Association that was a stunner. The article found that a doctor who gets even one free meal from a pharmaceutical sales rep is going to write far more prescriptions for the medicine of the pharmaceutical manufacturer who gave him the free meal. Typical free meal, under $20. And it changes doctors' behavior. Now, before it makes you feel negative towards doctors or anything like that, that they're being so heavily influenced by a single free meal, I want to make you think about human nature. It's not like a doctor saying, oh, they gave me a free meal, so I'm going to write this prescription that's going to rip off my patient's wallet for $1 zillion. It's not like that. We as human beings are at base social creatures. And so we feel appreciative, and it changes behavior. Why is this important to you? Well, obviously, if you're at a doctor and he or she is influenced by the visit from the sales rep or the free meal they got from the sales rep, and they write a prescription that costs you out of pocket 10 times what another medicine would cost you, then you are suffering the consequence. I took my teenage daughter to the doctor recently, and she needed a prescription, and I asked about the cost. And the doctor didn't know, but she said, there's a generic I can write. I said, will it treat her just as well? And she said, yes. And I went to Costco and filled it at the pharmacy there. How much was the prescription? How much? $7 and so many cents. I don't remember how many cents. $7. Don't know what the one originally written would have been, but odds are it was not $7. You and I have a responsibility here, knowing again that the doctors, without even realizing it, are being manipulated to protect our wallets in advance. A third of all prescriptions are abandoned at the pharmacy counter when people find out what they cost to fill, and they don't fill them, and they don't get the meds that they may need to get better. So don't put yourself in that position. Take a simple step, and that is, if you're going to the doctor, you can print out one of these pharmacy lists or just look at them on your phone when you're at the doctor. And when they get ready to write a prescription, say, hey, money's really tight for me. Would one of these be okay for what you need to treat? And then you may be at Walmart paying $4 for a prescription. There's even a regional supermarket chain called Publix that has a list of prescriptions that they will fill for you for free. No cost. It's a limited list, but they're free. And so doing it in the right order protects your wallet, and you don't end up abandoning that prescription. Kim joins us. Kim, somebody's being really cheap with you, and you're not happy about it at all. What's going on?
Well, my husband's car was in a wreck. It was actually parked, so that's why I say his car, not him. And it was totaled. So,
what? How's the person in the other vehicle?
Well, they tried to keep going, but their car stopped, so they're okay.
What, they tried hit and run?
They did, yes.
Did the police take them away in a new set of jewelry for that?
Well, no, because their car stopped, so they ended up not running.
Oh, okay.
Car, maybe a block.
Okay.
So the other driver, their insurance took responsibility, and they're a good insurance company. So we did all our research, like you. I always listen to you, so we did all that research, and they came back with an offer about $1,000 less than all of our research showed we should be getting. So we presented all that information to them, and I've never heard you say what to do next, because they basically said, they checked 2 cars. We checked all of the sites that you recommend and did all of that.
Let's talk about what you do next. Now, tell me what kind of total dollars we're talking about here.
Not that much. It's a $2,000, so we're talking about we're $1,000 different.
Right, but what is the amount that you think it should be worth?
We think it's worth about $6,350.
Okay, so what you do is ask for a face-to-face meeting with the adjuster's supervisor who is representing their insurer.
Okay.
And what you want out of that is the alternative is you sue them in small claims court. In most states, the amount of money you're dealing with, you're okay suing in small claims court.
Okay.
And you would sue for the amount that you feel your vehicle's worth, and you'd present the documentation. Now, for them, you're not trying to hold them up for $15,000 or $40,000 or saying, oh, you know, I wasn't in the car, but my arm hurts now or whatever. You know, you're not trying anything crazy with them. It's a simple dispute about what would be fair value. You should be able to get enough resolved with the adjuster supervisor that you don't end up in court. But you don't threaten you're going to go to court or whatever. You just simply ask for, you've done all your research. You believe the vehicle's worth more. You'd like a meeting with the supervisor of the adjuster.
Okay.
And so if they give you, they say, okay, we'll go up another $500 or whatever, call it a day, because you don't know if you do go to court how long that's going to take and if you're going to win or not.
Okay. Okay. And so don't sign over title or anything until it's resolved.
Nothing till it's resolved.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Best of luck. And I wonder what they're going to do to their own insured who tried to leave the scene.
I don't know, but they told us we don't have to pay you replacement costs because you're not our customer. So it was.
Yep, that's right. They only owe you fair market value.
Yeah. Huh.
So, and that's what you should receive is fair market value. George joins us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, George.
Hi, Clark. Thanks for taking my call, and thank you for all what you do for us.
Well, thank you. It's great to have you here. You have an unusual situation that's happened with your son, but before you get too sore at him, I want you to know it's happened to all kinds of people over the years. What happened?
Okay. My son was working for a national hamburger chain, and he lost his paycheck, only to find it a few years later on down the road.
A few years? How many years?
I don't know. It might have been 3 or 4.
Okay.
And so just on the hope that they would honor it, he pursued that, and they said no, they would not honor the check. And I was just a little dumbfounded because the check was really not for a large amount. It was something on the order of $80 or $90.
All right, so here's the story. The bank, if he attempted to deposit it, the bank would probably return it unpaid as what's usually referred to in banking as a stale check. But it was a proper payroll unless the location has filed for bankruptcy that he worked for. They should take the check back, having proof that it's never been cashed, and replace it with a new fresh check.
Okay, yes, they're still in business.
And so they owe him, it's hours worked, they owe him the pay for the hours worked. You know, usually what happens is with money, you sit on your rights, you lose them. You know, the time goes on and the people change, the business goes bust, whatever it is. But in this case, you have a business that's still there, still operating, and they owe him the money.
What happens if they just refuse to do anything about it and say...
He should file a complaint with the State Department of Labor for failure to pay for hours worked.
Okay.
Wage and hour division. It can be wage and hour division with the U.S. Department of Labor, or a complaint with, I don't know, each state would call it a different thing.
Okay, so we can go state or federal or both.
Yes. And so what your son should do is ask to speak to the manager, say that he's filing a complaint with both the state and the federal departments of labor, and that all he wants is his money. They're just, how old's your son?
Right now, 24.
24. He needs to advocate for himself and stand up for himself. Not in any rude way, but just an assertive way, and say, hey, this was my fault. I didn't cash the check, but you do owe me the money.
Right, okay. So
and it's pretty clear that the money is owed to him, but the check he has is no longer a valid check.
Okay. awesome information. Thank you very much.
All right, best of luck, and I hope he gets his money, and it's a good lesson for everybody to keep good records, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, take care. Follow me at facebook.com/Clark Howard. Our web address, clark.com. When you got a question for me, go clark.com/ask. Craig is with us. Hello, Craig. Welcome to the Clark Howard Show.
I figured out the way to get on your show.
What's that?
All I have to do is ask about the Roth IRA and the Vanguard Star Fund all in the same sentence.
I am the man from Roth. You know, I never met the late Senator Roth, but if I had met him when he was alive, I would tell him that he did something that has made such a positive difference in so many people's lives.
Yeah, it's very easy to open. That's what I enjoyed about it. 'Cause I'm still kind of new to this. I'm only 24.
Well, you're 24 and you're saving money, which your wallet is going to smile on you so big time.
I'm working on it.
All right.
I do have a Roth IRA open with a local credit union, but I was wondering if I should open up a Vanguard Star Fund in addition to that, or just only pad up the Roth IRA, or should I do a combination of the two?
Okay, so we're mixing apples and apples and tomatoes here, because the Roth can be used owning the Star Fund within the Roth, which is the best way to do it.
Okay.
So I don't want you to have your Roth money at a credit union. As much as I love credit unions, they're for parking money, borrowing money, and things like that. They're not for, although they make it available, especially at 24, you should not be putting money in a Roth and a credit union, because that's a place that money sits, not really grows. Mm-hmm. So I'd much rather you look at rolling over your Roth that you have at the credit union to a company like Vanguard, and then putting the money in either the Target Retirement Fund for, I guess the latest you can buy is year 2055. For your age, that would be right, the 2055 fund, which would automatically change the mix of investments all through the decades as you age. Or the Star Fund's great too.
Huh, good to know. So it's a 2055 fund?
Yeah. Target Retirement Fund 2055.
Okay.
So the idea is they keep changing the mix as you get closer and closer to the target year you're likely to be able to retire.
Right.
So the Roth is basically a house, and doing the Target Retirement Fund or doing the Star Fund or whatever, that's the furniture in the house.
Right.
So what the Roth does is it gives you tax-free growth of your money and tax-free spending of your money.
Okay.
And that's why I love the Roth so much. And you're just about right. You asked me about Vanguard and Roth in the same sentence, and I'd love to talk to you on the air because I want that savings habit in place. And be proud at 24 you're thinking this way. Chris is with us. Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing great, Clark. How are you, sir?
Great, thank you. So this automobile of yours is 20 years old?
It's a 96, and it has only 270,000 miles on it.
Wow. Well,
and
good for you.
It's sound, the engineering is sound, and it runs perfectly.
So don't you want to be one of those people that they're putting on TV when that thing hits like 40 years old or something?
It may very well. I sometimes consider myself a life support system for this car, but it may very well make 1 million miles.
Well, so you're in that debate with yourself right now whether it's time to send this one to the junkyard?
Exactly. I mean, it's every now and again something little will go out, like a water pump or it's something along that line. It's rather inexpensive to replace, and I'm a pretty handy mechanic, so I do most of that myself. But at some point, enough is enough, right? I mean,
right. So we have two issues here. We have two issues here. You're in a different situation than most any time anybody ever asked me this question. And the reason you're in a different situation is you actually know how to do the work yourself.
Right, and the parts are relatively inexpensive. I can go to a junkyard or
Sure.
even the new ones are pretty cheap.
So we're talking about not dollars and cents here as much as we are your sense of when this is just not fun anymore.
Exactly.
So are you at the point that it's past being fun and it's time for you to get something new?
Well, no, and in fact, I find working on the vehicle rather therapeutic in some sense.
Really? I can't imagine doing anything of maintenance or repair to a car being therapeutic for me, but if it feels like that for you and the parts you're buying, the car at this point, what's it worth, like $2,000?
At best, $2,500, and,
okay.
And you're probably more accurate when you say $2,000.
All right, so let's say it's worth $2,000, and when you get to a point that you're looking at a repair, it's your labor, but you're looking at a repair that I would say starts crossing the $1,000 mark, that's when you send it to the junkyard.
Thanks for listening to the Clark Howard Podcast. Download new episodes every Monday through Friday at podcastone.com. That's podcastone.com. Stay tuned for the latest AP News headlines from Podcast One right after this.
AP Update, I'm Ross Simpson. Donald Trump is preparing to accept his party's presidential nomination tonight at the GOP convention in Cleveland.
Just hours before he accepts the GOP nomination and makes his case to the country, Donald Trump came to the convention hall to check out the podium he'll be using and make sure everything's the way he wants it.
I love the look of this.
And knowing reporters were watching,
I love the media. They're so honest. They're such honorable people.
Trump will be introduced tonight by his daughter Ivanka, who was with him during the walkthrough. Jerry Bodlander at the Republican Convention, Cleveland.
According to excerpts released ahead of that address, Donald Trump will pledge to Americans that safety will be restored and the middle class will experience profound relief if he becomes president. Trump will offer an optimistic vision of the nation's future. AP Update, I'm Ross Simpson.